Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we got Group A on the horizon. We are going to round off the group stage with a game or with a group that I feel is fairly predictable. We got EDG on the 0-3 scoreline, we got AHQ at the 1-2 scoreline, 2-1 Cloud9, only lost against SK Telecom. SK Telecom at the juicy 3-0. SK Telecom look like the first place takers, and Cloud9 look like the second place takers. But to be honest, the Gigabyte Marines, Fnatic, Immortals, Longzhu group was exactly the same. So maybe we'll see some craziness, who knows. AHQ is kind of a curveball, I guess, similar to Gigabyte Marines, because who knows what Westo is going to pick up or play. I think it can get quite crazy. We'll just have to see what comes next. I want to just jump in straight to the draft. AHQ vs SK Telecom should be pretty straightforward. We got AHQ first picking Janna, which is kind of strange considering they banned Xayah here. I think it's fine to ban only Rakan, and then they don't need to ban Xayah. I think Xayah is a waste of a ban right here, unless the SK Telecom are willing to do what our dear friends Misfits are willing to do, where they played Blitzcrank and Trash, and I thought that was not optimal, but it worked, right? Like the Blitzcrank game, I think they lost because of other reasons, and the Trash game worked out fine, right? And all things considered, I'm not too big of a fan of it, because I think Xayah is the strongest when she has either Janna or Rakan in her team. I think AHQ are winning this trade, right? I mean, SKT are winning this trade, because right now, even AHQ, even though they have Janna, I feel like the ADs that are the strongest right now, that are left in the AD carry pool right here, is ADs that go with Lulu. So I think Lulu is the better pick here than Janna. But the win ratio also speaks for itself, right? Janna has been winning so many games at this tournament, so it's quite strong. And also considering that Jarvan is in the mix, I think it gives Janna a bit more value. I think there's some specific champions that Lulu can peel very well, like some of these assassins, and I feel like Janna is peeling the engages the best. Like engaging on Lulu is still a very good thing, and something you should aim for, right? So Janna definitely disengages better, and she scales better into the game. The reason why I say Lulu is better than the AD carry with the AD carry pool that is open right now is because Lulu is very good at buffing up only one person. And when you have either Kog'Maw or Tristana on your team, Lulu is going to shine. She's going to do great. And Janna is more with, for example, Xayah. They're more like team-oriented and push-focused. So we will have to see. So we got the Janna. SKT respond with picking Jarvan and Lulu. AHQ picked the Kog'Maw and Sejuani, which is the top-tier jungler, so to speak, after Jarvan. Jarvan hasn't had a lot of success, at least the past days. I know before these 4 days, Jarvan was having a lot of success, received a lot of bans, but Jarvan as a champion is struggling because, I don't know, a lot of these engaged champions are just running into a rough patch, because these a lot of these mid laners that are getting banned out, like the Syndra and people not playing Orianna, it leaves a bunch of Cassiopeias and Ryzes, and these are champions that can do very well into these engaged champions, and with this strong backline as well with the Janna and the Kog'Maw, it makes it very difficult for a champion like Jarvan to get in there and to make it shine. And early on, Jarvan is not the fastest jungler. Like, he has some expensive items and he isn't naturally tanky. Like, he has his WI, but other than that, he's not naturally tanky. So Jarvan, if he doesn't create a lot of things in the early game, then he tends to get like one-shotted for a large period of time, while a champion like Sejuani, for example, has some natural tankiness in her passive, right? So that is important to remember. Like, Jarvan, he is favored so high because of his engage and also because he's flex, but we've seen that engage has been like the doom of a lot of teams. Even though they have like the best engage, the disengage from the enemy team is just too strong. So let's continue here. Like, we see that SK Telecom, they don't keep the flex, they don't pick AD as well. Usually most teams pick AD third here to make sure that they have a pick. But let's think about what picks they can pick into Kog'Maw. Like, there's Tristana, there is Twitch, and then I guess Varus is one. Varus would be fine. That gives us 3. You see Twitch banned, and AHQ is most likely going to ban Tristana as well, I think. And put SK Telecom bot lane on Varus. Or Syndra is the ban instead. Okay, Varus picked even though Tristana is open. Alright. Bang is by no means a bad Varus. I think the only thing that has kept SKT as a 3-0 scoreline is SK Telecom's bot lane. So this is a bot lane I have full faith in. SK Telecom, the only reason they've been winning games in a lot of games is because of their bot lane. Like, they kept very healthy in a lot of games, and they also played their late games very, very well. We also had that insane engage from Wolf on his Rakan. So, AHQ, Shen and Fizz. Fizz blind pick. Now this is absolutely crazy. This is really, really crazy. I don't know how much I like Kassadin. Like, Kassadin versus Fizz in the 1v1 is great. For sure, it's great. But if you're playing against Shen, and you're playing against Kog'Maw, I don't think Kassadin can do much. But the second thing that puts Kassadin at a high favor here is that the enemy team is fully magic damage. So Kassadin's passive is 100% like useful here, right? Shen is gonna do fine into Jarvan. I think it's a good matchup for Shen. And then Fizz, together with Shen, might be able to punish Kassadin early game, maybe on side lane. We'll have to see, right? It's going to be easy for Kassadin to jump away and like run away, right? But in an all-in situation, Kassadin shouldn't be able to like win unless he's like super fed, and that might happen, right? But from a pure 1v1 standpoint, I think Kassadin is a great pick into Fizz. The trading pattern is very predictable, and at 6, Kassadin can ult away from Fizz's ult, and Fizz needs to land that ult to kill someone. And if Fizz can one-shot someone, then he's not gonna win the long duration trades. And Kassadin has his Q, he has this 15% less magic damage taken, and all that jazz. So we'll have to see. I think the main problem for Kassadin here is going to be like dominating side lane, but it's all about that mid lane at that point, like who's going to get priority in mid lane. And I think Varus, Lulu and Gragas can do that for a large duration of the game, and then eventually AHQ is going to outscale with Kog'Maw. So there's a lot of sides to this coin. You can see that I think Kassadin definitely outscales Fizz, and Kassadin can scale very well into the game. I think Kassadin will struggle to hit the Kog'Maw, and Kog'Maw might be like the core target for him. Especially if Kog'Maw goes for like a Witsend or something, if Faker gets fed. And I think long-range AD carries are the ones that Kassadin hates the most. We'll have to pay attention to what happens in mid lane. Bottom, SKT should have the way stronger bot lane. Varus and Lulu should dominate bot really hard. And if they don't, it's going to be like a big problem for SK Telecom. SK Telecom, I found it strange what they did here with the Gragas and the Jarvan, but I guess it works out. I think they could have had the AD that they wanted, and the enemy team wouldn't ban any junglers because whatchamacallit, like they wouldn't ban any junglers because the enemy team had Jarvan flex. There's no point wasting like a Gragas ban when the enemy team has a Jarvan flex. We've never seen that in cases where Jarvan flex has been picked, that anyone is banning Gragas. So maybe if SKT Telecom wanted to have the Twitch, they could have picked it earlier on and done it instead of picking the Gragas. But maybe they also want to just hide their AD carry pick, which once again it's not going to give them much, right? They pick Varus last, and I mean pick Varus fourth, and what value does it give them? Next to nothing. We have reverse jungle starts. We saw Sejuani on the blue buff. He's going for the Gromp. Sejuani loves killing those single camps. Good trades from Faker. It's a very rough lane for Fizz, I feel like. Whenever, like this Q with the shield is really powerful, and the poke, like Fizz doesn't have enough mana to just E every Q of Kassadin. Like it just doesn't work out that way, and Kassadin also doesn't have any mana problems, and Kassadin against a melee champion like Kassadin W is really OP. Peanut now on top side. Sejuani is completely mirrored, not a big deal. Looks like Wester's already warding. The reason he's warding top side is because SK Telecom deletes bottom, right? So not a big issue. Faker doesn't need to ward because he's completely fine. Like the enemy is slow pushing, and Peanut now on the ward. He should know this ward is here though. Like he should know 100%. And the classic thing now is to check Gromp, because most junglers, they just go for Wolves afterwards and leave the Gromp behind. Wolves is such a smooth camp to kill. Like it's one big one, and the small ones are not that useful. In terms of fighting back, they're useful in terms of XP, but my point still stands. Completely mirrored what the junglers are doing. Both take away the Gromp, and both should walk towards Raptors now. Also see the vision is quite similar. The only difference is that Faker didn't ward on the bottom side in a better way, so they didn't spot Mountain, but they almost have to assume that this is what's happening, because it would be the best course of action. Bottom is even on CS, and I think a part of that is because, you know, Mountain path into bottom side got the leash from Shen, so SK Telecom's bot lane can't really play super aggressive where they push under the turret and create a situation for themselves like that. We'll have to see now when Gragas either does golems or he paths into his own bot side, because his wolves are gonna spawn, and we'll just have to see. His wolves are gonna spawn soon. Albus, like Mountain, went for the more greedier clear, so he's gonna be back on the map a bit later. But he did the golem, so he's slightly ahead. See that Peanut already has his jungle camp, and I think this advantage he is going to create for himself with this golem camp is not going to matter in the long run, because Peanut is already getting valuable information. We'll have to see if Mountain is going to be able to do something similar. SK Telecom's bot lane is now safe to play the lane as they want. But the pathing clear choices of both junglers gave AHQ's bot lane a lot of breathing room here, and that matters for sure. I'm surprised that Bang is running Bloodlust. I think it's terrible that he's running Bloodlust. I think he should run Fervor for sure. I think it's really bad, actually. I actually hated Westo with the Fizz. Already got a basin, but didn't use his TP. Neither did Kassadin. Kassadin with the Catalyst is walking slowly, and it seems like Kassadin did get a good base, because it seems like Fizz is slow pushing. Post Rift Rivals and at Worlds, okay? Kill participation. Well, this Warlords just seems completely useless on Varus. Like, what's the point? Like, Fervor is so much better. It synergizes with the entire build that everyone's been running. Ginsu's, it's been synergizes with Hurricane. It does amazing things. And I felt like that was one of the reasons why Varus was so effective. But this Warlord's like, are you gonna buy a rapid fire cannon? Like, what is the plan here? And I just don't like it. I feel like, you know, there's a lack of fervor is not gonna make Varus the same in terms of tank killing like it usually is. Huni seems to maintain his push on top. The pink ward plays on blue. I like this. The blue is about to spawn. So we can see that AHQ are trying to get that mirrored vision. Alright, Mountain also got the vision down. We talked about other stuff. I want to just take a look at what Mountain is doing for the duration. He's walking out of base now, and he just did its wolf camp. Gragas is doing golems for the first time, and Mountain is in position to take enemy Grump. Yeah, they spot Gragas doing the Raptor, so they just he just goes for the Grump for free here. Oh, Peanut just grabs the blue. Doesn't give a F. So this is where we see the biggest difference of doing the more efficient clear, and the fact that Sejuani did golems once. Gragas did golem once too, but Mountain stole away the Grump. You can see the Mountain's going to reach level 6 first, and that is where the big difference lies. If you have an advantage in a tank matchup, it's like you reach level 6 first. Can you use it? In most cases, it doesn't seem like people can, but in some cases, it has mattered. We've seen some 2v2s up top where junglers reach level 6 because they walk into the lane and they just need one creep for it and things like this. But also in this case, like Fizz is basing though, but Mountain is walking around and he does have that level 6. TP's coming in from Fizz. Castellan can also respond to this. Peanut is also in position. This was a bit desperate. A bit too desperate. But to be fair, it seemed like Westo is going to TP back into lane. So it's not that big of a blunder anyway. I don't know if basing and TPing was the best option here, like looking at Westo's mana pool and things like this. He wasn't in a bad state. So Fizz is starting to base right now. The wave is already coming, like he could definitely stay here, and maybe he's just basing to set this play up, and it just doesn't work out. And in the long run, like it's not too big of a punishment if he wanted to base and TP back, but it just seemed like it was a bad situation to do that. I think he could have stayed, like he was healthy, had corrupting potion sacks, and I just think that's important to bring up. So at this point in time, like AHQ are really strong when it comes into pushing mids and contesting bottom side river. Like Peanut is definitely a target. Like Castellan can jump around and he's definitely tankier with his passive. But if Peanut comes around mid lane and they just land the fish on him, then he can be in all sorts of trouble. So to be too wise, like I think SKT can win if Gragas doesn't get one shot, and AHQ they need to one shot the Gragas, which they definitely can. Junglers are not that tanky at this point in time, like Sejuani is a bit because of her passive, but same cannot be said for Gragas. Like he has his W, reduced damage stuff, and then he has his health regen from his passive. But other than that, you know, AHQ also have that Shen, right? So they can definitely use this global presence for things, but Huni is doing a great job up top. I didn't mention that SK Telecom just stole the enemy blue. The biggest thing here is that what the hell? I just heard a baby cry. So Fizz is in base while his blue buff is up. I want to see what prompts. Like Fizz doesn't even go to base, he just walks into bottom side and is looking for a fish. Does he do anything? Like enemy bot lane doesn't have any items, so it could work. Westor just backs off. I think a mistake from Westor is that sure he can roam into bottom, but he commits too far. Like he goes all the way here to look for something. And I think if you are here already, then you have to go. Like that's how bad it is. And SK Telecom are just picking up a free blue buff. I think SK Telecom even think that that Fizz is in base. I don't think they think he roams bottom, but eventually they warded there, so maybe they're just too next level. They warded here. You can see it on the map. Boom. That blue was definitely gonna help, like spamming Q on Ziv when he's doing good in this lane. You see his head, and Shed is unhappy because he didn't create anything yet, but the moment Ooh, Albus. What you doing there, son? Just freezing the wave for your AD. I guess it works. Wits End first on Barros. That is crazy. That is crazy, but I love it. The reason I love it is because enemy team is full magic. And this Wits End is gonna disable Fizz from one-shotting the Varus. And that's a big deal. Like, Fizz... Alright. Like, Fizz wants to one-shot people, right? Plain and simple. We'll see now if Shen's gonna do work. That's one punch. Stun is up. Faker should be dead here. Faker should be dead. Holy moly. It's a very crazy synergy here that we didn't speak about. It's Fizz being able to apply like his passive and then like reapply it with W, right? And then it's very easy for Sejuani to get a double stun off, and it's a really big deal here. I want to see the movement of Faker here. He's zoning. He's zoning Fizz. Like, look at him. He's zoning Fizz right now. He's doing crazy things. He sees Sejuani right now. Right now, he sees Sejuani. And Kassadin is still walking forward. Like, what's up with that? Like, right now, Faker sees Sejuani. Right now. And he's still walking forward. So that's just a blunder. I think lately, at least MSI and at Worlds, I feel like Faker has been really susceptible to ganks he shouldn't die to. I can remember that EDG game. Faker's performance is slipping, I feel. He's no longer like clear cut, he's the best mid lane in the world, no chance. Now I don't feel the same way anymore about Faker. Like, he's great, you know, he's good. But maybe, you know, he, of course he's the best player of all time, but right now in his current state, you know, I don't feel like he's in tip-top shape, and dying to that gank is not good at all. Not good at all. Finished Road of Ages also, it's a consolation prize. Wits End finished on bottom. I think this is an issue that SK Telecom are not further ahead, or that they didn't create anything bottom side, or actually did anything. I just feel like Varus and Lulu should be beating Kog'Maw and Janna, otherwise he'll get heavily outscaled, you know. Varus is good in early game, Lulu's also better than Janna in lane, and then Kog'Maw Janna is going to scale insanely well here, because it's going to be a very difficult task for SK Telecom to actually kill the Kog'Maw. Like, look at Faker walking forward when he sees the freaking Sejuani. He saw her, and then he flashes. I don't know if he could flash away from anything. Maybe he could just flash before those autos came in, but then maybe like Sejuani would just flash and flail him and land the stun anyway. So I'm not too sure if flashing earlier would have made a difference. What would have made a difference is not walking forward like Faker just did, you know, in that situation. Civ also has his ultimate. We're going to have to see if it's going to be used for good. We can see how well Kassadin does in the trades against Fizz. Like, the moment the Q comes in, and even if Fizz eased it, even if Fizz eased the Q, Kassadin still gets the shield. So it's not even that terrible in a situation that Faker does, like, even if Westo does E the Faker Q, it's not that terrible. Like, you get the shield when you shoot the Q, like when it comes out of you. So I feel like my voice is giving up on me a bit, but it should get better throughout the day. Mountain is doing a good job of maintaining this one level advantage, but Peanut is doing his side of it and is maintaining vision in the enemy jungle. Peanut hasn't set up any ganks yet, he hasn't really pressured anything, and looking at the situation, like, ganking mid is quite hard. And then in mid lane, like in bottom lane, like with Varus ultimate, that's where something could be created. But I haven't been really paying attention to the way position bottom. It feels like it's been in the middle for most of the time. AHQ are just respecting the fact that SK Telecom's bot lane could be moving, and he doesn't contest. Yeah, Westo has been horrible this tournament. Let's see if his Fizz can redeem that. Well, that kind of sucks. When you're playing Fizz and you creep survive with 1 HP after E. That's a feels bad, man. So it's only Lulu basing for that Ardent Sensor. Janna doing the same. I feel like this Ardent Sensor is gonna matter more for Kog'Maw. He has a long attack range, but SK Telecom just have to look for that all-in. I really don't feel like this Bloodlust is doing anyone any justice. Right here we can see a situation where Fizz is already pushing mid lane, Faker is going to back off, and this just turns into a smite war. AHQ also committed a lot more to maintain the position for the blue buff, so in a sense they deserve to get it. But right here you can see that Janna is first to bot lane, so so Albus did the good thing here of basing already, and he gives his team some priority. Because Lulu's already still showing, and Janna's already walking back to lane. And the punishment is not coming in for Kog'Maw, right? There's no one punishing Kog'Maw, because SK Telecom want to do the same. They also want to just base and get that Ardent Sensor, because the gold numbers should be very similar because of coin, right? And with that in mind, Kog'Maw Janna is creating some priority here. They're pushing the wave, and then they're walking into river together with Mountain to pressure this blue buff. So far AHQ is playing quite good. I feel like they are getting those small valleys here and there. The gank onto Faker was good, but Faker should have survived, of course. Usually in tank v tank matchups, that's what you have to expect, right? But a big thing here for SK Telecom enforcing bottom, I feel like they have to think about the Shen ultimate a lot. The Shen ultimate can come in and create a situation where SK Telecom could be in trouble. So saying that they should pressure bottom, it might not be that simple, but Huni has been saving his TP for a very long time, and Huni is indeed pressuring topside. So I feel like there's like a lack of a game plan right now. There's a lack of an objective. In a lot of games we see teams trying to set up dragon buffs. We see some invades from AHQ, which is fine, right? Both TPs are from mid lane. You know, definitely like both sides have ways of punishing aggressive plays, in the sense that there's 2 TPs, and Shen has his ultimate, and there's a lot of disengage tools as well, right? There's Fizzy, there's Janna, and if anything, maybe we'll see some like kind of a gank into Shen that is just unexpected, and then maybe bot lane is not in the position to punish. I feel like the options are definitely great, but Mountain is just a step ahead. He's just a step ahead, man. I want to see it. Gragas shows him bottom, which is a big mistake. But it's not a big mistake because SK Telecom did burn flash of Kog'Maw, but the trade-off is kind of huge considering that Mountain, for the flash on Kog'Maw, is going to get the topside jungle camps. Like Gragas is nowhere close to be found. So maybe the timing of the gank is just terrible. Let's take a step back here. Like the blue was taken, and then Mountain, like Gragas is already on bottom side. All top side camps are up, and Mountain is backing off. Enemy team has a lot of vision here, so to be fair, like there's only 2 options for Gragas. Gragas was pretty healthy, and he had a Cinderhulk, so he doesn't have a lot of money. So him basing is very unlikely. So with the vision that AHQ have, Gragas usually wants to go into here, and into here, into here. So Gragas not showing on that vision and knowing that he doesn't need to base. Like he has a Cinderhulk. Basing for Gragas, it will be quite useless. I feel like they can assume that Gragas is going to make this play. And maybe Mountain should be walking straight into the enemy topside jungle instead of even starting his own at all. He did his red buff, of course he should do that. But already now, like I feel like it could be predicted that Gragas is going to go bot side. They have enough vision to work with when it comes to knowing that Peanut most likely will go bottom. But nevertheless, it doesn't change that much for AHQ. They burn a flash, and Mountain gets 2 topside camps by the looks of it. And Peanut is just falling further and further behind. Mountain is going to get level 10. Or what? Is going to get level 10 from this red buff? That would be crazy. 2 levels ahead. Sejuani versus Gragas. Peanut is getting danced around. Mountain did have some good games, you know, that HQ played. I think he did some sick engages. Look at that. You're going to outtrade. You're going to outtrade the level 10 Sejuani, bro. Main thing here is Huni's in a better position. Shen has ultimate though in worst case scenarios. Shen is coming in with the ultimate. Let's see if Fizz is coming in here. Huge Fizz ultimate on Jarvan. Woo. Alright, alright. Not too bad, not too bad. Shen ultimate was used though. HQ have a better position to go back into the waves and just push. So that's also going to matter. Let's see if SKT are going to use some TPs here. SK Telecom are turning into gear on bottom now, all of a sudden, now when Shen doesn't have ultimate. But it's hard for me to believe that that is why SK Telecom is not further ahead bottom, because Huni has kept his TP throughout the entire lane phase, and it feels like he played accordingly, and now he's TPing top, because Shen doesn't have ultimate. Let's take a look at this again. Peanut's already low, Mountain has ultimate. Shen ult comes in. And then Huni just gets one-shotted because he doesn't have any magic resistance. I feel like investing in magic resistance would actually be really useful for Jarvan, even though this is like his core build. Like his AD carry is buying freaking Wits End already, you know, and that everyone in the team already got the message that they are in fact playing against full magic team. You know, sure, Kog'Maw has some physical damage, and there is some physical damage here and there, but let's be honest. Let's be honest, guys. No Tiamat on Shen, he just goes for the Sunfire Cape, which is strange. I think Sunfire Cape as an item has been nerfed so much, it's not that great, but you know, it serves both purposes. It helps you push the lane, and it also gives you armor against Jarvan, which makes it 5. So it's not that big of a deal. I just think it's a mistake that Huni hasn't itemized MR already, even though this is his core. It does make him like Black Cleaver. Hitting Black Cleaver and Tiamat is still a great spike when it comes to the 1v1 matchup against Shen. So it's not that big of a fault, you know, it's totally reasonable. Mountain is just doing his thing. He did the same down bottom where he just ran into the enemy laners and tried to flail. Peanut doesn't have flash here, so this is like an easy catch. And Peanut no ultimate. Holy moly. We talked about earlier how Gragas can get one-shotted. Even though Kassadin is all mobile and shit, but walking into mid lane is something that is very scary for him. And I think Mountain is jungling out of his mind right now. Like Mountain is always a step ahead of Peanut. Like always. Like it even started from level 1, and then not level 1, but he took his golems, didn't get punished for it. Peanut got vision first, but then Mountain went and stole his Gromp, and then ever since he's just been ahead. He's been pressuring every buff of Peanut, and he's been doing a great job. Like Mountain is playing out of his freaking mind. Crazy game. I want to take a step back. We took a step back now, and Mountain was spotted walking from bottom side, and he walked into like Mountain's position is 100% known, but Peanut walking in here is absolutely silly. Like mid lane is already pushed, and they know where the freaking ward has been placed, you know, and they spotted Sejuani. They know Sejuani is here 100%, but Peanut walking in here is an absolute joke. Like he doesn't have flash, and it's quite terrible. You know, Kassadin is in mid lane and clearing a mid wave. Not even they wouldn't even win this fight anyway. Like even if Kassadin was in a position where he had priority. So this was terribly played by Peanut, but Mountain is definitely maintaining himself a step ahead of the game. And SK Telecom, are they in the same position where we have to rely on some late game crap? Well, this time around they don't have like a Twitch to carry them in the late game, or a Kog'Maw and or a Tristana. Like they're playing Varus, you know. They don't outskill the enemy at all. I feel like Kassadin split push is going to be neutralized by Fizz and Shen ult, and right now like Fizz is in a way better state of the game than Kassadin because of his 2 kills, right? But to be fair, Kassadin does have a CS advantage, so it's not that terrible. You know, the goal differential shouldn't be that huge. We'll just have to see. It just looks like Fizz is just closer to items, but we don't know what Faker has in base. Both mid laners are going to go towards Lich Bane most likely. Huni is starting to lose those trades. Maybe he needs that blue buff again, stolen from the enemy team to to set himself up. But some 5k should be quite decent for the lane, but as an item doesn't scale too well. There was a time where some 5k was like the greatest item in the game for top lane. There were good times, good times. Oh, Huni buying lifesteal? Really? I don't know, man. I don't like him not buying magic resistance. I think he should just buy MR. I think it's gonna be too squishy, way too squishy. Like, is his goal going to be to one-shot the Kog'Maw? I feel like that's a strange goal to have against a barrier Kog'Maw when he also has a Janna. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Yeah, the items in mid lane are fairly similar. You know, the CS advantage should amount to the same as a kill and an assist. Like a kill is about 15 CS, so Kassadin is currently ahead 22 CS. Both mid laners haven't used TP in a long time. I feel like there's an issue now where Huni is losing the 1v1 and Shen having push priority is going to be a massive issue, because now Shen has a lot of pushing power with his Sunfire Cape and his timeout. He has a lot of tools to create situations, and I feel like the next time AHQ just commit to a play, like the bottom play with Fizz, I think it's all good. But holy moly, Mountain. We've been talking about how SK Telecom is going to be the savior, but to be honest, I need to see what happens here. So right now, SKT, they are healthy down bottom, and then what happens? They go and they trade. I don't know what happens. Like, the minimap doesn't. We don't get told anything. But Wolf is getting shat on in the trade right now. I wish we had multiple streams. You know, I just wish we had multiple streams. And SKT walk into top side to pressure into Shen. Doesn't give them enough. Like, the pressuring into Shen right now is terrible because Shen is also pushing the wave, so it's hard for them to create anything. Sure, they're looking at the blue off, and Kassadin is doing blue off right now, but that kind of gives AHQ the freedom to push mid lane and play into bottom. So we've reached a point in the game where both AHQ's side lanes are just winning, and that's like a massive problem. Bang now gets stunned up. Faker was the one that TP'd. Huni has to look for first tower, is not gonna get it. Shen is TPing back, and Kog'Maw Janna gonna get first tower of the game, and okay, Kassadin cancelled Shen, so that's an upside for sure. But AHQ just doing Mountain Drake. So the main issue here, I feel, is that SKT's bottom lane didn't create much pressure. Huni had pressure for some time in the 1v1 against Shen, but then Shen reached Sunfire Cape and Huni didn't have a blue. Like, I'm not saying Huni should have a blue, but he was at his peak in the lane during the time where he had the blue. So all in all, it just feels like the name of the game has been junglers just duking it out about jungle camps, and then it feels like SKT lacked a lane where they can create something on, or create something together with. And then about 3 minutes ago, when AHQ just committed to bottom, it felt like it just heavily shifted. We had the Rage Blade finished on Kag'Maw, and he just out-traded Lulu completely. And Mountain has been a step ahead of Peanut the entire time. Is it just Peanut getting out-jungled this game, and then Faker dying to that ridiculous gank that he shouldn't have died to, and then Huni running into a problem now because he's playing against Tiamat and Sunfire Cape, and Shen's items are just better for the lane than Huni's. And then bottom, like Kog'Maw just shat on the freaking Lulu and won the lane pretty much. It's crazy. I just felt like SKT's bot lane should have been able to accomplish more. It's crazy to think that they were even the entire time. But Mountain did path into bottom, and Peanut did his pathing into top side. So that's like a slight advantage for AHQ's bot lane. But should it have been that big that AHQ is even for the rest of the game? I don't know, man. I sincerely doubt it. Is Kog'Maw Janna just OP? I don't know, man. I think Varus Lulu should win this lane for sure. And then being even at this point in time is not a good thing. There's also like Kassadin really has a hard time killing. Like he can't really kill a Kog'Maw, especially if Kog'Maw is gonna go with Sen third, which he most likely will be because there's a Jarvan building full AD. I just feel like Huni should itemize some MR, like really. I hope that's what's coming next, like he should itemize MR earlier. We also had that situation where Peanut just got caught and died. Peanut has not been playing that great this tournament. I feel like he's been getting carried. This is coming from an angle. SKT have this advantage that they are more grouped than the enemy team. Faker has a big mana pool here, so he can chase forever. Mountain doesn't have a flash. Mountain's gonna die here most likely. Ooh. Whoa. I guess not. Okay. So AHQ had this problem right here. They couldn't commit to the fight. They couldn't commit through river because you can see that SK Telecom are more grouped right here, and you see that the enemy bot lane is cut off here. So Mountain was doing a kind of a risky invade, but then Janna is coming here with full speed, like she's quite quick. And then the flash into the shield, Albus saves her, and the heal as well. Peanut doesn't get ult off in time. Like maybe if Peanut just ulted earlier. Like let's imagine a scenario here where he just ults right now instead of saving his ult for late game. Then Mountain would have died, you know, and then this situation would have been better. But Peanut is kind of trolling. I think this is a blunder from Peanut. He should have ulted, Mountain should have died. And then on top of that, he kind of gave Westor an escape path. Like right here. Like if he, instead of walking towards Westor, walks upwards, then it's better. But he gave Westor like something to Q. And if Westor doesn't have something to Q, then I think he kind of dies there. Because he gained so much distance from the Q, and he could have just... he would have forced his E, and then Varus could have ulted him, and then maybe it would have ended better. But to be fair, like Shen also has ultimate, so it's not 100% how it would have ended if Peanut would have played that better. But for sure, they could have killed Mountain, and that would have mattered a lot. Like Mountain is heavily out jungling Peanut. There's a huge CS disparity, huge gold disparity, and I would just love to compare the gold value of both junglers. Faker has no mana now. Holy moly. W, that's a pretty sick move there that he W's into ults away because he gets that mana back from his W. But let's take a step back here. Like Mountain got vision on the blue buff from before. Mountain, even though he was low HP, has that Warmog's Heart doing a lot of work for him, right? So he didn't need to base. And then we have that Vision at the blue buff, so SKT are 100% spotted. So the risk SKT are taking here is that the fact that they are not basing, and they tried to push the waves during the time that AHQ kind of recovered. And AHQ recovered really, really fast, considering the Mountain didn't need to base. AHQ are back in mid lane, and they gained a lot of priority because SK Telecom didn't base. You can see the mana issues here that Peanut runs into. No mana on Peanut, no mana on Faker, which makes this a very easy invade, very easy pickup. Faker survives with a sliver of health. Pretty smooth play here, how he W's and then flashes out, and then Rift walks away, because if he didn't do that W, HQ would just kill him even after the flash. Blue is taken by the Pogma. I don't know what Huni is trying to accomplish with this Ravenous Hydra. Like, I really, really don't like it. I think Titanic and Magic Resistance is the way to go, man. I think Adaptive Helmet could be pretty juicy against the Cog, and what else? No, just any MR item, really. If you could buy all the Banshee's Veil, then this would be the game to do it. So now the side lane game begins, right? The main issue is that Shen should be doing fine against Jarvan, and then Shen plus Fizz should be doing great against Kassadin. We'll have to pay attention here to what AHQ actually accomplished with the TAP advantage. As you remember, and I'm trying to remember where Faker TP'd. Was it the bottom tower where he TP'd 2? And yeah, it was the bottom tower he TP'd 2, and AHQ has been having a TP advantage for quite some time. Like, sure, they got the blue buff, and the fire on bottom. Then Fizz goes into bottom. Let's see what AHQ can make of this TP advantage during the small time that it's left. My main issue here with SK Telecom is because he went with Sen Ginsu, means he doesn't have Hurricane, which means that Kog'Maw is going to push a lot faster. Kog'Maw and Janna should be able to push mid lane faster, and they should have priority in mid lane. If it comes to that, Janna is nowhere to be found right now, and Kog'Maw is still getting priority all by himself. SKT are just respecting him to the max. So the main issue here for me with SK Telecom is that unless Huni starts beating Shen in the split push, then they're not gonna really get priority anymore. And if you are in a position where you don't get priority against Shen, then you're in big trouble, I feel. So HQ definitely should get priority together with this Kog'Maw. If he just W's and autos the wave, he's just respecting the fact that Jarvan is missing in action right now. Both SKTs and HQ should be able to just clear the wave in time, and I feel like there's going to be like a full front battle about the space. Whoa. Whoa. Holy moly, Kog'Maw. This is why you don't pick Varus into Kog'Maw and then lose lane. Is SKT gonna lose? They're gonna stir up some shit here, man, if they're gonna lose. You know, before this group was about HQ losing against C9 and then C9 is through, but if SKT lose here, then everything changes. And to be honest, like, they don't have any tools to kill the Kog'Maw unless Gragas finds like an insane engage. And there's the Shen ult into bottom. Holy moly, but Mountain is a god. Like, Mountain is doing so good. Huni has a CP, but it wouldn't matter if he TP'd bottom side. The best decision he could have went for was to just push top. He does itemize some MR, but I don't know how soon he's going to start shitting on Shen on side lane, but now should be a point where he actually does. With Ravenous Hydra, Black Cleaver, and some MR, I think it's enough for him to win the side lane. I'm curious to see what item here Kassadin goes for, if it's a Banshee's Veil or if he's going for Hourglass. Like, Hourglass would be pretty fancy against both like a lot of CC, like hard CC that AHQ is dropping, but the armor is kind of inefficient, so that makes it kind of awkward to buy. I like the potential buys he's available. Witsen also finished on Kagma. And we talked about how SKT are playing as a full magic damage team. Like, the magic damage they deliver is also pretty high with the Gragas, Varus, and Kassadin. That's maybe why Jarvan is itemizing like he is, but I think if he had Titanic, it would have been the same. The Ravenous Hydra is a bit better in lane because he can pretty much lifesteal any damage that Shen does. So it's not too terrible. But at this point in time, like once again, like AHQ should get priority with Kog'Maw in mid lane. Should be able to win the side split push as well with Shen and Fizz up top. Fizz being level 15. Like Kassadin should be struggling on the side lane as long as Shen has his ultimate. Then like Kassadin can get caught very easily. Holy shit, Mountain is so beefy, man. Shen is also in a very good position here. Lulu just gets taunted. Oh, good ultimate from Huni, but Kog'Maw is alive. Kog'Maw is alive, boys. Kog'Maw is alive. I feel like SKT, they just did too little with their bot lane picks. And if, you know, either like they just have to gain more out of Varus and Lulu. And if they can't, you know, if they can't get more out of Varus and Lulu, then these were shit picks. You know, that's simple. They were shit picks. You know, Kassadin was good because he's playing against a full magic damage team. But, you know, Kassadin's not going to deal with the Kog'Maw. Who's going to deal with the Kog'Maw? No one's going to deal with the Kog'Maw. Kog'Maw has a Janna right now. And unless you kill the enemy's frontliners faster, then you're not going to win. And the idea of being able to one-shot Kog'Maw just seems impossible. I look how safe Kog'Maw is throughout. It's just... He gets knocked in. Plain and simple. He gets knocked in. He has Witsen stacking for him against Rage Blade. Like, no one can really alter him because he's out DPSs everyone. Like, his Hurricane Beam could be hitting Faker and he could be out DPSing him. Like, the Gragas ult doesn't get better in this fight. Like, let's take a look at this again. Mountain Drake is up. Huni's coming. Like, currently SKT have a better position, right? They're more grouped. Ziv is kind of screwing this up. I like that Ziv is coming from a good angle. Like, he doesn't have Shen ultimate, so he needs to get in the fight somehow. And AHQ committing to the fight, like here, forces them to push into this direction. But to be honest, it should be running here, right? But either way, Ziv will find a good angle here. He's blocking this path, and he's finding a good angle into this area. So Ziv's position is really key here. It's really, really, really good. We continue a little bit. After that, I think there's a mistake here from SKT that they're fighting downwards. Like, Kassadin's Rift Walk here is really, really bad. Like, where is he going? He's Rift Walking past, and then Wolf is also running in the wrong direction. The main thing here is that the Westeros fish is really, really insane. Like, Westeros fish is insanely well placed. But imagine if Kassadin is here and Lulu is also somewhere here. Then the engage from Jarvan should be landing here, right? And then they should be hitting this and hitting this. Because this, like, the moment SKT just run bottom side and try to run away from Shen, I think there's no way that they win. The other way to do it is to everyone commits to what SKT did here and run bottom side, and then they just polymorph Shen and try to get past them. Let's take a look if that's a possibility for SK Telecom. Like, everyone could definitely run downwards. Everyone could definitely run here right now. Like, if everyone just runs straight right now, then it would be like possibly better. But the moment SKT split up, there's no way they're gonna win that fight. I don't know if they have a chance to win a fight regardless, but it's still like, there's just no chance. There's absolutely no chance the moment they split up. SKT are 2 people here. Lulu can't really help anything. Bang flashes over the wall. Varzul comes in. But then it's just lost. I just feel, you know, SKT were put in a situation where the lane phase was happening for 20 minutes straight, and they don't have the comp that is scaling. And sure, if you're in a 20-minute lane phase and you're in the team that is going to scale and you're the team that is actually creating advantages, then fine. But they weren't the team that was creating advantages. They weren't the team that was scaling either. Like, they have that level 16 Kassadin, but he's still not going to be able to deal with the Kog'Maw. Like, Kog'Maw is way too fed. Like, Kog'Maw is way too powerful. Kog'Maw has all the items he needs, and I feel like relying on one-shotting Kog'Maw in the current meta is not the way to play the game. Really impressive that AHQ managed to like maintain being even the entire game. They were even the entire game, bottom, and they just have the hardest getting bot lane for sure. There's no way around it. You know, SKT, either they need to get more advantages or they just need to change their draft, because this doesn't work. Like, this doesn't work at all. Like, it really doesn't. Like, what Fake is gonna do? He's gonna kill the Kog'Maw? Like, not in 100 years. It's just not gonna happen. Like, he also has like Shen ultimate, barrier, Janna shield, Janna ult, Janna items. Like, there's just so many tools to peel the Kog'Maw, and it just becomes like a battle of who kills the frontliners first. So we will just have to see. SKT have to resort to some cheesy gameplay. But you know, Fizz, he has those Shen ultimate as well, and Janna could be here in time. Wester could like stall long enough for it to be fine. So it's strange. Adaptive helmet finished on Jarvan, probably going for like stone gargle stone plate. Kassadin with the TP, Shen ultimate, like Fizz ultimate not used yet, lands on Huni now. There we go. With the redemption. Does some damage onto Westor. Kog'Maw's here. My goodness. I don't know. I feel that more and more we see it, the more and more I feel like Jarvan is overrated. Oh, whoa, what happened now? Where's Fizz at? Fizz is pushing the lane here, and then he's woken up. And then Kassadin, what is Kassadin doing? Kassadin is just chasing him, and then, oh, it's the ult flash. Ult flash into punch, Lichbane. Okay. It's gonna give SKT some breathing room. But what is the goal here? Like, they need to get some insane Gragas ultimate into like a one-shot on Kog'Maw without anyone using any items, any ultimates. But now he even has Randon's Omen, bro. Like, he's full iBoy now. Like, he's a tank. Like Kog'Maw is so freaking tanky right now. It's crazy. He's like tankier than Huni with that barrier. Huni's just trying to stall it out, but they're playing on like the bottom side of the map. So Kog'Maw and Janna are coming here first. Lulu and Varzul are joining in now, and Huni just dies. Now let's take a step back and like assess the situation, like why Huni was there in the first place. So it's just greeting for the next wave. And at this point in time, you know, can we fault SKT for any mistakes that they do at this point in the game? Because I feel like they need to take like really stupid risks to stall this game out, to win this game, you know. Like he was just trying to push the top wave to kind of create some pressure, but I don't know if it's worth it. Like it's not worth the risk, right? Because the enemy team has like Shen to just go and deal with it, and AHQ would lose nothing while doing so. So this risk is really unnecessary, I feel. Like sure, you can take risks when you're behind, but yeah, the risks have to be good and valuable, right? And this risk, the value out of this risk is so small, it's minimal. Like if it worked, Shen would have just pushed it out and it would have made zero difference. Blade Runner King now finished on Bang. I'm getting so tilted by the fact that he doesn't have Fervor. Really, really tilted. Like imagine running Bloodlust and still going even in lane against Janna Kog'Maw. I think that's terrible. Really, really bad. I think SK Telecom need to sub in some blank. That's what's up. Alright, let's take a look at this fight again. Fizzlement doesn't land on anything. Elder Dragon is the name of the game. AHQ have 2 mountains, so they're the ones that are going to have the better Drake. Well, it's just hard to imagine that SKT can come back, you know. It's just, there's too many pieces that need to fall into place, and the voice stuff is finished on Kassadin, so maybe, you know, maybe they can try to launch the code, because that's what's required. Bang flashes, and Peanut gets hit by the ultimate, countered by Varus. But Mountain is an absolute beast. Like, look at him. He forces Varus flash right off the bat, right there. In this situation, Fizz ultimate comes out. Doesn't hit anything, so that could be considered like a mistake. Wisto's finding an angle right now. He definitely could have been more patient. Wester is doing this thing with his Fizz where he's trying to ult behind people. So he doesn't hit the Gragas, he doesn't want to hit the Gragas. It also makes a massive difference how much damage Fizz does because of travel distance. And right there, you know, after Bang flashes, I don't know what Peanut is doing. Like, he needs to get over the wall and be with his team. But, you know, there's a big issue that 2 people are here and 3 people are here. Like, what is this flank about? What is this flank going to do? Maybe Peanut wants to get like some good ulti onto AHQ, but right now, whoever takes the Sejuani ult is going to die. Has to be Joven, if anyone. And Kassadin at least has Mercs. But Mountain finds like the best possible target. Varus doesn't have flash. The Varus gets ulted right there. Becomes a massive issue for him. Bang does get peeled for though, and the Shen taunt lands on both Kassadin and Jarvan. And this was like the attempt from SK Telecom to one-shot. This is them trying to one-shot the Kog'Maw. Look at them trying to one-shot the Kog'Maw. That's hilarious, actually. That's really funny. The game should be over, right? SK Telecom lose the game. Easy 6-0. Easy 6-0. Turn into AHQ taking games. That's absolutely nuts, man. That is some crazy, crazy shit. AHQ, like, really, really surprising how, you know, SK Telecom drafted this comp. Kassadin is not going to be much use. I felt like, if anything, maybe they should have went like for an Orianna to deal with the Fizz, and then at the same time have some kind of late game to it. And then, you know, maybe they should have just picked Tristana to be able to contest this in late game and deal with tanks. You know, if they had like Orianna Tristana in this game, then all of a sudden the game changes a lot, right? They have the Orianna Jarvan combo. They have like better DPS when it comes to killing tanks. They have the shield, and then Tristana is good to scale in the game. They would have had like options in terms of playing the game slow, and they would also most likely, I think Tristana Lulu should have priority. I think Lulu should win the Janna matchups most of the time. And I feel like a big issue for SK Telecom here was that Pino got heavily out jungled, heavily out jungled, and SKT's bot lane just got outlaned. And whether you want to attribute that, because we didn't see much of it, like the camera guy didn't show us much of SKT's bot lane, whether you want to attribute that to Sejuani being a larger presence than Peanut or Shen Ultimate, I don't think Shen Ultimate is a reasonable way to blame it, because Jarvan did in fact have TP the entire time, and he also had pressure for a large duration until Shen reached Sunfire Cape and Ninja Tabi. So in this game, you know, Kassadin also died to a really useless gank, and Mountain picked up most of enemy camps. I think Peanut invaded one blue buff. That one time Fizz roamed into bottom, and AHQ just beat SK Telecom. I don't know what these LMS teams, they have like the secret kryptonite to be SK Telecom. Crazy game, like Kog'Maw, his strength was definitely shown here, and I think SKT could have drafted a lot better. I think an Orianna and the Tristana instead of the Varus and the Kassadin, and then they have a comp for themselves where I feel like they could actually outskill the enemy and do something together with the Jarvan and do a lot better. A lot of people have mixed opinions about Orianna, but I think Orianna definitely is really good in the meta. I think she's one of the better mid laners against ADs like Kog'Maw and Tristana and whatever the hell, because she has a lot of range and she can actually control space. So it's very hard for these ADs to walk forward. Like when the Orianna ball is there, they can't really walk forward, and she can actually control a lot of space. That's like the case of every mage, right? They control a lot of space, and I think Orianna is the mid laner that does it the best. Like Syndra was banned in this case, and I really don't like Syndra against Fizz. I think Orianna does a lot better, and then they could either played around the 2v2 in mid lane together with Peanut, and they could have done great things. You know, Kassadin into Fizz is not bad, you know, it's not bad, but Kassadin is not going to do anything to Kog'Maw Janna. There's no freaking way. Like you saw their attempt where they tried to one-shot the Kog, and it just like this looks pathetic, right? Like sure, at this point in the game, it's 6,000 gold lead on AHQ, but let's be honest, like you could have stripped him from 6k gold, and you're not going to assassinate anyone with Jarvan Kassadin in the current meta. That's for sure. You're just not going to do it. It's not possible. No freaking way. Like there's too many good support items. There's too many good supports. The ADs are running barrier and the supports are running heal. Like there's no freaking way. There's just no freaking way. And AHQ, like they played a very clean game. Like AHQ looked a lot. They looked very missing in terms of their macro play was missing in the games that they lost, and they seem to be very bad at lane assignment. And in this game, I feel like it's next to impossible to make lane assignment mistakes, because they could send Fizz to both top lane and bot lane, and Shen both top lane and bot lane, and I felt like they solved a lot of their issues. And at the same time, you know, Kog'Maw in mid lane did a lot of good things, and HQ played pretty smooth. I think Mountain deserves a lot of praise. I think Anne and Albus also deserve a lot of praise, because they maintained the equilibrium in terms of CS on bottom. So that was crazy to watch. I'll see you guys in the next game.